Hello, hi everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar. We will be talking about onboarding and how the onboarding can help you driving the conversion, retention, revenue. So let's jump right in. My name is Rudolf Vido. I am head of product and design at Vacuumlabs, and I'm being joined by Carolina, my colleague.
Hello,
Carolina.
everybody. Hello, great to be here. Welcome, everybody.
Carolina is our service design lead, so she's looking at how to create delightful experiences for the customers. And of course, the delightful experiences start with onboarding. So that's a great topic to have her here. So thanks, Carolina, for joining me. We first have prepared some very short intro about Vacuumlabs, and then we start. So Vacuumlabs has a history of more than 11 years delivering products end to end. So we mainly work in fintech and crypto space, helping companies to do product discovery and then also product delivery. We operated in 20 countries, more than 200 employees, and more than 100 clients worldwide. So I will move next. Right. So what is our expertise? We are trying to integrate the expertise of people who are able to craft the product strategy and help you with product management. Then also people who are doing product design and service design to also design those delightful experiences. And least but not last, engineering and infrastructure to also being able to deliver the technical solution. And all this is encompassed by the data science, which also helps to bring the data insights. And the magic usually happens at the intersection of these. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? The first part will be why onboarding matters. Like most of you probably already know or have some feeling, but we will still go quickly through this. Then go through some common mistakes of onboarding. Then we will present our onboarding principles and some examples how we applied them. We will also go through the process of creating great onboarding experience, like what are the steps and what you should pay attention to. And at the end, we have summarized 3 key takeaways that you can apply and that could help you improve your onboarding experience. So this is what you can expect, and we start with the onboarding and why it matters. Onboarding can be overwhelming, as you see this airplane cockpit. Sometimes this is how your potential customers might feel seeing the first screens and being asked all the questions at the beginning. Sometimes it could look like interrogation, or they might not know the interface, so it can be tricky for them. And let's see some numbers why we should care about onboarding. If it was not obvious that onboarding is the first touch point and it's super important to get it right, here are some numbers which are saying that 76% of customers would stay with you after having a nice onboarding experience. So 3/4 of the people will stay, as opposed to only 40% of customers staying when they have the poor onboarding experience. A lot of companies are looking at the how to retain the customers, and actually the retention already start doing the onboarding to give them very welcoming and nice experience. So I think these are numbers that can nicely showcase why it is important to focus on the onboarding. And what are the top reasons for the drop-offs? Why some people don't finish the onboarding? Usually it's about taking too long, or we are asking information that the customer either doesn't want to share or doesn't have available at the moment. And also it can be overwhelming or fiddly, or they don't know how to proceed further. So these are the top reasons for the drop-offs. So understanding the users during onboarding, what we should keep in mind is when we are working on the onboarding, or we already have some product that is in production, we somehow see it as a simple thing, right? Because we already seen it so many times. But for our customers, they see it for the first time, is completely new, and in their eyes, for example, the anchoring bias is something that happens when the first couple screens they see, it sets their expectation or suggests for them the initial anchor of what they will expect. So really the first 2, 3 or couple screens they see are super important to get them right, to start on positive note. Then also it's about having high expectations. There is also something called liquefied experience. So this means that customers, when they experience a great experience with, I don't know, installing their or onboarding into Uber, onboarding into Airbnb or the top tech players, then they expect that it will be so simple also with some other products. Of course, in fintech space, this can be tricky, right? Because there is also regulations you have to follow, and there are some information you have to for sure ask. But the bar is quite high, and they are not comparing like, okay, this is a bank, so of course they need to ask more, but they are expecting, okay, this should be probably smooth and quick. And also they expect that it will happen here and now. So, in case in your onboarding you still have some live chat or live call or something that needs to be done by customer support, and they are available only from 9 to 6 p.m. That's all probably not something that will cut it, right? And you will probably lose portion of the customers. So here and now is also important from the perspective of customer. Moving on, so it doesn't matter only for the customer, or is important for customers, but it also matters for the business, and how the good onboarding can help you. It can for sure save you money and time on the back office effort. So by having the digital onboarding, you are saving the time that the back office employees will need to do to either authenticate or compare or do some kind of manual procedures. So the more it is automated, the less strain on the back office. Then reduction of errors and minimization of frauds if the onboarding is fully digital and you have the validations or extra information that you can guide the customers through this. It's then easier for them to get smoothly through this, and for you to collect the data without typos and additional work to clean the data. Also, it is giving you opportunity to have always open business. That means that it's not reliant on people on the back office or in customer support being at work, but you can fully onboard digitally also during weekends or during the night. And also the increase of conversion, retention, revenue. So the more you are able to engage the users early on and show them the value of the product, the more likely they are going to stay with you. And this is saving you the acquisition cost for new customers, and also optimizes the cost for the onboarding if you would, for example, onboard the customer via offline channel. So a couple of reasons why the companies are doing it well right now, or what could be some underlying problems. A lot of times this could be caused by legacy system and lack of flexibility. Again, the solution could be that the onboarding is completely built completely separately from the existing systems, or has its own specific logic. Then the department silos. If you have multiple products that you're offering to customer, you need to coordinate across different teams or different departments to get everything right. So it usually helps to have a cross-departmental team to look at the onboarding and look at the blind spots. Also underestimated the value of UX or design. Still, there are a number of companies that see the designers only as the guys who are drawing the nice screens. So I highly recommend to involve designers early on and not think about the visual design, but also the customer experience of your customers. Then what also could be not helping you or hindering you is the customer persona not being defined. So why we believe the customer persona is important? It's because this is like your mental model. You have a lot of data points about your customers, like who they are, what are their pain points, what are their needs, and you have all this data and statistics, but you are not able to keep all of this in your mind. So you need some simplification, some mental model, which helps you to relate to your customer and empathize with the customer. And the customer's persona is exactly that. So you can more easily get under the skin of your customer and design it really for them. Then missing regular discussion with customers. Ideally, you want to speak to your customers even weekly if possible, but there are a lot of companies which still don't do this, and I think this is maybe quite easy hack how you can get ahead of your competition, because if you will be the one who speaks regularly with the customers, you are getting so much more insight than your competitors to get onboarding and also your product right. And then the last one is not having clear notes for the onboarding. This means that if you don't have a clear guideline what you are optimizing towards, is it the speed of the onboarding, or is it something else? Is it that you want to get the customer as quickly as possible to start trying your product? Then you can have too many conflicting priorities. So you might want to have micro animations there. You might want to collect all the necessary information, and you want it also quick. And if you want too many things from the onboarding, maybe you are not getting either of those really right. So it's really important to set the right metric that you are measuring yourself against and that you're optimizing towards. So you align the team under one goal. Okay, moving on.
Okay, so let's talk about the common mistakes around onboarding, right? First one, not providing information for conversion. So here we have something interesting, but when we are trying to convince users that our product is good, that we want them as a customer, we are thinking about the flow, but many times we are not providing information that they need to take this decision. Of course, if you think about yourself, when you need to decide on something, what do you need to decide? You need data, right? You need something to analyze if this is worth it or not for me, if this is really for me or not. And sometimes all the product information is in other part, in another tab in the web, in another place that I need to dig in, I need to find. When you put everything together in the moment of conversion, it's much easier for this user to assess if this product is good or not for them, right? So here is just an example on Wise and how they bring it together with a simple button like check our rate. So we click there, you have all information that we need to take a decision if you want to go forward or not, right? So this is one quick tip here. And a mistake that is very easily found. Another thing, adopting a one-size-fits-all approach. We should be very naive to think that all users of our applications are the same and it's going to behave the same. So we can't treat a user that maybe it's a first-time user of a crypto application as someone that is managing crypto for a long time. So we need to provide both options for them. We need to provide more detailed onboarding for the ones that need, because it's the first time they are going to use this kind of product, but also a possibility to do something really fast, because probably this user, he doesn't need to be onboarded in the same way of that other one that needs details, right? Here is an example also how Slack, they can provide this double view of things. They have in the last line, I don't know if you can read because it's really small, but it's written, not your first Slack team, like you are used to it, right? So skip this tutorial and go straight for what you need. Other thing is not collecting, but not analyzing mainly the data, because we are so used to this rate is like, okay, the completion rate or dropout rate, but do you spend time analyzing why we have those rates, or where are the friction points, or where are the stages of abandonment? There is a collective meeting where everybody's bringing some insights about what can be confusing for users. Probably not. And probably the details of it are mainly reason for them to drop out, or mainly reason, like sometimes it's just the detail, it's the way we place something, it's the way we explain something that is not clear. Another mistake, facing onboarding as a one-time journey. So I have a product, I launch my product, I think about onboarding, and it's done. Well, it's not like this, because of course, this product is going to evolve. We are going to create new features. This product is going to be updated soon, and you need to onboard a customer. And just to give you an example right now, not sure how many of you use this Slack application, but they just launched the new version of it. And I'm getting crazy. It's so hard to understand. And I miss a kind of ease on board. And if I'm used to the application, this new version is really confusing. So sometimes it's even more challenging to manage these expectations, because you changed something that this user was so used to, so attached to sometimes. So to manage this change sometimes is as much as important as the onboarding itself when you're launching something, right? Other mistake, the wrong prioritization of steps. We have this, if you read an article about how to do a good onboarding, if you go to a blog, you see that, okay, this is a golden rule. You should present the core features up front, right? And then the basic features is later on. But probably is not the only source of truth, because if I have a core feature, but it's really easy to use, maybe it can be later on, right? So imagine all the possible variables that you have. It's not only about the core features, but also the complexity of those features, right? The same thing about the information. Sometimes you have so important, crucial information to reach this customer again, to try to reach him if he drops off, but then you requested this information later on. No, try to think about the information that is crucial for you and request this information up front. So the organization of steps also matters. Last thing here, reducing steps, but overloading information. This is based on my own reality. Some time ago, I got a client and they were insisting a lot about, let's reduce the screens, like onboarding so many screens, we have a lot of things. But anyways, if you reduce the screens, the information that we need to provide is still there. So it's not about the amount of screens, it's about the information that we need to provide in a simple way. And sometimes to provide this information in a simple way, we need to provide this information in steps, right? I will not overload this user with all information in one screen. So doesn't take the number of screens as this crucial thing to measure, because sometimes it's better to have 3 screens, but the information organized rather than one screen and everything there, and we can't not guide the user eyes on the thing that matters, right? Our onboarding principles and examples. We have 4 principles based on our experience, based on the projects that we had in past, based on the things that we are doing right now. Those are the 4 principles, and I'm going to give examples of each of them, right? So first one is communication and guidance. Second one is efficient and convenience. Third one is engagement and satisfaction. And the last one is recovery and support. I'm not going to explain right now one by one, because as I told you, we have real examples, and I think it's going to be much easier for you to get the concepts of each one when you see real examples, right? So let's start. The first one, communication and guidance. Here is about setting a clear visualization of steps and estimated time that the user should spend. So what we are doing here, when we show up front, those are the steps that we are going through, or this is the estimated time that you need. You are setting expectations, and you are helping them to assess if this is a task that they should do right now or maybe later. It's so annoying when we start to do something and you need to stop to find a document that you need to know that it was important, or again, to find an information that it's in another part of the product. So it's much easier when we do this disclosure, but in a very smooth steps, right? It's not everything at once, but otherwise it's some steps, and in terms of psychology effect is the best thing for the user. Other thing, give your users guidance on specific tasks that may be complex or confused to them. So first example that I was talking about is this overview of steps. Okay, this is everything you need to do. But inside each steps, of course, you also have some instructions. So we are not giving those instructions in the beginning. We are going to disclosure the specific instructions of these steps together with the specific steps. So for example, here, we have the first screen. One last step, we are almost there. So here we have some reminders for you. But imagine that I put this on my previous first screen. Okay, everything you need to do, by the way, in this step, everything you need to do, by the way, second step, here is the list. No, it's little by little. It's all about psychology, right? It's all about guiding them on baby steps. I'm guiding as if I guide a kid on my process, right? So here, for example, I have some instructions on how to take a good selfie or how to verify your identity, but this together with this specific step. More things about communication and guidance. I also explain why I needed this information. You know that nowadays, data security, everything, we are so uncomfortable providing data, providing things, why they are asking, why they need this. Is this a scam? Is this a real thing? Where is my data going? So here we have two different examples. One is, okay, if I ask something and it's very sensitive information, explain why you are requesting and how we are going to treat this information, which is those screens on the right, how we are going to treat this data, how we are going to encrypt the information, and how we are going to make sure that this is not, this is going to be safe with you as a company, right? Last thing, it's a very interesting thing because many times we are so worried with what we are showing to a user, what is on the screens, and we forgot that the time in between, the time that I wait for an answer, or the time where I receive an SMS, that I have an interaction with other touch points also matter. So here is a kind of play. In these screens, I set the expectations as I set the mood for those waiting moments. So when something is over, when this process on this application is over, I need to explain what is next. Probably you are not going to listen from us in 4 days, but don't worry, we are processing your information and we are going to send you an email when everything is ready, right? So we let them know what is happening in the backstage. I don't give this ghosting or I don't disappear, but I set these expectations on what is going to happen. And here are some examples on how we do this, okay? Your application is being sent, but 2 business days, and then you are going to reply. It's being processed, don't worry, or even a number if you want to talk with us to ask something into these waiting moments that we have. Okay, second thing is efficient and convenience. Here is about adding tools as, for example, this auto-complete address and auto-filling. In the second screens, I don't know if you can see, we have this picture of a document, and then in the following screen, we have all information from this document in the forms. This is called OCR, is the optical character recognition. So I don't need to type. It's everything captured from this picture on the document, right? The other thing is designed to prevent the mistakes. Of course, your users, they are going to make mistakes. It's a human thing. Of course, it's going to happen. So we need to help them to prevent. So if they feel something that is wrong, or if they try to do something that the system shouldn't allow, I create a constraint. I don't allow them to progress on it. I create some kind of error. I explain why this error, and I allow them to verify the information before submit, right? I allow them to check, and I allow them to edit if needed. So this is a way to deliver efficient and convenience, right? When I do all those things, I'm delivering a fast experience for them. Other thing, engagement and satisfaction. Here is about personalization. So when Rudolf was explaining why do we create a target persona, what is important to have in mind your user, to empathize with him, of course, we want to create something that is really relating to them. So same tone of voice, or this informal language that I can create a kind of connection. So also here we have some examples, and in the last screen you can even see referring to the user with his name, right? Because if he collected this data, we know who he is. So it's a touch, let's say it's a detail that can make this user feel closer to us if we call him by his name. Like, John, it seems that your mail is registered, many thanks. Other thing that can create engagement and satisfaction is to celebrate these milestones. It seems a very small thing, like, why should I celebrate if the number was verified? But when you are in an onboarding process that can be so overwhelming and sometimes so tiring, those small things create a huge, huge effect on user, right? So here also some examples. You did it after a long onboarding, or you are killing it in the middle of the process, so you can give like a sense of relief. Okay, I'm almost there. Just some examples. Of course, animations. As Rudolf was saying, the design has this powerful magic to create delightful things. It's not only about the visuals, but the visuals also help a lot to delight the user. So how we can show users that this is a fun thing. Many times they are biased, thinking about, oh, okay, one more onboarding, so boring, this is going to be repetitive, the same thing again. No, if I put some animations, I can give them this fresh air every time they need to do something that can be considered a bit boring or a waste of time. Last thing, recovery and support. Me as a service designer, I pay a lot of attention to everything related to recovery and support. When we talk about happy flows, we need also to talk about unhappy flows. Sometimes we design our onboarding thinking about the perfect scenario. Of course, they are going to fill the form. Of course, they are going to submit application. Of course, they are going to progress in journey. But sometimes they are going to be stuck. Sometimes they are going to be lost. Sometimes they are not going to understand. Even if you think about everything we were talking, it's completely normal that they feel overwhelmed or they feel in need for more information. So how we can help them, how we can add elements that anytime they can ask for help. For example, if they can't find the address, we design everything thinking that it's so easy to find the address. But if they can't, they should be able to ask for some help or to find another way to put this information here, right? Or if they have any question about the process, if they are not comfortable doing something, they should have an easy channel to talk to. So here are some examples on how we do this as well. Well, when you bring everything together, some of those screens, they were from a great project that we delivered with Advanced Intelligence Group. We had a big challenge to build a bank from scratch. And besides being the big challenge, because building a bank is a huge challenge, was a bank for unbanked population. This means that it was probably the first time that they were going through many terms, financial terms, many times that first time that they see those kind of products. And we had a challenge to create an efficient onboarding, but at the same time, fast, considering this specific target, like first-time users. So how could you do this? I have to say that many principles that we created was based on this experience, based on how we can create something efficient, but at the same time really fast, that could cover someone that is not really comfortable on this process, right? The result of this project, and I'm really proud of it, is this less than 5-minute process to be onboarded into this new bank with many products. And we even have this quote for a potential user. Okay, it feels even faster than 5 minutes. It feels like 2-3 minutes because of animations and the guidance that will be provided. So here it's some examples on how it looks, everything together. Some more examples so you can see the product together. But I have to say that it's not only about the onboarding. I was talking about it in the beginning, right? One thing is to onboarding to this banking product, but again, within this product, I have more things. I have options to upsell, and I need to think about how to onboard on those specific products. For example, here is about personal loan. First time that they're going to see this, first time that they're going to probably apply for a loan in a digital way. So how can you set as well the same experience that we had during the onboarding, but also within the whole application in this case, right? So for each product, we have this small onboarding, specific and related to that challenge, that specific product. More examples of our experience. I don't know if you're familiar with MOC, is the Asian financial product, is an all-in-one financial app with many products, and we could we help them to reach this amazing number, 8,000 new accounts in 5 months, and it's even better than the previous project. Here we could reach this in 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Also, Twisto is a buy now, pay later from Czech Republic. And here the challenge was also related to the back office, the verification of documents. So how we could approve the clients, how we could onboard those clients in less than 24 hours. So we could provide them all features at the same time that they requested, that they need to use it. And finally, Unisest is a product for Gen Z. And the nice thing about it is how we could combine the onboarding with the chatbot. So we were onboarding the users through this bot that was having a conversation with the users, as if you were requesting help to a friend. So they were onboarding, this chatbot was onboarding you on this process, but in a very smooth way, because it feels like a conversation. Rudolf, up to you. Rudolf, maybe you are on mute.
Yes, thanks, Carolina. So now we are going into section how we design a great onboarding experience. We have seen some tips, some mistakes, and also some best practices, and maybe how to put it all together when you want to either design a new onboarding experience or you want to improve existing one. What are usually the 4 steps that we follow? Definitely the first one that a lot of companies or our clients might be neglecting or skipping is really developing the empathy for the users and to research. So what we mean by this is, if you have existing onboarding, this means that you also look at the data that you already have. If you are starting from scratch, defining new onboarding experience, you need to really understand your users. So who is your target customer persona? And don't wait to speak to your customers once you have your product ready. What you need to do is to go out and to talk to the customers even before you have a product or the onboarding, because what you need to understand is how these customers behave, what are their problems in their daily life, and you need to somehow start to get feeling and relate to these customers. So how can you do this is by talking directly to the customers, but also you can look at the places where they meet, right? And this could be online, this could be some dedicated forums for the type of customers that you want to serve. Or if it's if you are expanding to a new country, maybe you can have a look on YouTube. You can find some videos like day in life of person in Germany or in Philippines or somewhere else, and you can see how these people maybe live, think, or this then helps you to create experience for someone maybe you are not that close to, and to better understand their challenges. So there are many ways how to get closer and to understand the customer better. Once you master this step and you understand who is your customer and are able to create customer persona, then what you should do is to map all the onboarding steps or the touch points. So look at it from the perspective of customer journey, because we experienced this also in past, that a lot of customers, how they are thinking about features or what needs to be in onboarding, they just list the bullet points, right? Like, we need to collect ID, we need to set up a password, and if you put everything just in bullet points, you are missing the how the customer will behave in the motion, right? Like, because the features are delivered in time, somehow the customer experiences them, and he needs to go through the steps. So once you are really documenting like what will be the individual steps that the customer needs to go through, it's much more easier to identify the white spots or to understand like where are you making certain assumption about something, right? Like, we are assuming that the customer has the ID ready, but okay, why are we saying it to the customer at the last step where we need the ID? Maybe we should say it at the beginning, right? Like, if they need ID, we should tell them like what are the preconditions to even start the onboarding, so we don't waste their time. Because if they cannot complete it, like, they might feel kind of misleaded because they thought maybe ID is not necessary, and now they came to this big hurdle. And this nicely flows into the third step, which is understanding also or solving the friction points. So once you map the process, you are better able to find the spots that can be improved. And this could be both about technology, how you can automate something, or it could be about additional guidance that you can provide to the customers. For example, the customers, you might need to ask them what is their employment type if it's financial application, or what is their what type of employment they have, and there you need to maybe give them some extra information. Maybe if the employment type you are in is not there, choose the closest one. This is mainly for informative purposes or something. So to give customers some guidance if they are unsure what to choose, or they don't see the answer that relates to their situation. And the last part is then improving the front and back office. So many times the onboarding and how well it's done is then creating workload on the back office side. So we should be always conscious of this. Yes, sometimes it might be costly to automate everything, but we should see like what are the parts that really move the needle, like maybe capturing the document and the OCR could be a big step in getting better data and validated data. So then you don't need so much effort that needs to be put to on the back office stuff. And what this also relates to is that it's not only about the application and what they experience digitally, but it's the experience from your product is also when the customers interact with your back office, right? Like the application crashed, or they were not able to complete the onboarding, so they call to someone, and they kind of expect that they will receive similar experience than to your application. So if they cannot get in touch with anyone, then this is creating a negative experience for them. So it's also think about how to design the offline paths, and how you train your back office to be ready to help your customers, and also to keep kind of the brand image. Like, you should have certain way how you talk to customers, and this should be consistent across application and also the offline world. So these are the first steps, and also what are some the plus points at the bottom is that we really recommend you to test with the users and to iterate. Why is this important? It's much easier to fix or improve things when you are still in the designing phase. If you already develop it, it's much more expensive to change something once it was developed. And going through iteratively designing onboarding, for example, can really help you not to deliver the onboarding 1.0, but maybe already implement the onboarding 3.0, because you already iterated in the design through the prototypes without using the valuable times of developers. So that's one of the strongest arguments. Another one is to really understand the users and fine-tune it to the way that they really understand it, because usually, onboarding, it sounds quite straightforward, but there are many places where the customers can get lost, and there is always a new way how the customers can surprise you, how they are not able to proceed, for example, to the next step. Also, another big point is designing for unhappy paths. Usually the teams are looking at, okay, what the customer will provide us, what will be next step, but they are not thinking about, okay, the customer can very soon forget the password, right? Or they can forget that they already onboarded to your application, so maybe the email address is already in use and they are trying to register again, right? Or there could be multiple of these kind of technical issues, and you should think about that, like, what do you show to customer and how do you solve this problem? And last part is aligning with the post onboarding. So this means that the onboarding is starting place for your product, but then you should be very well aware what's happening next and how the whole customer journey looks, because it should be consistent, right? If you promise to customers something in the onboarding, you should then deliver in the next phases. So it should be consistent with how you communicate in the onboarding and what they can then expect when they're using the product. All right, so we went through these steps, and what you can see here is example of service design blueprint. So you can see that the first I would say 3 swim lanes are like a customer journey. So you see, like, in which step we are of the customer journey and what are the user actions happening there. Beneath that, you can see the screens, and beneath you see the touch point. So what the customer is doing, what is the action they are doing at that point, what they need to click to. And in the below part, you also see the backstage actions. So what needs to happen there? So this could be that you need to call certain service, or you need to submit information through KYC to check the customer, or the customer didn't provide all the information, so this needs to go to the back office and create a ticket for someone to look at it, right? And also the last part is customer support, or some interaction where a person needs to review or prioritize the tickets and go through them. So in this way, you can first start with the first, let's say, 2 or 3 swim lines of this service design blueprint, and as you start going deeper, you can then assess, like, what are the implications for the backstage and for the customer support. So this is something that we regularly use to get a better understanding of what's happening and what are then also the implications for the rest of the company and maybe customer support. And it's also a nice way how to see it on one page, so you can then invite also your back office or customer support teams and discuss improvements to existing process, just to see it in a structured way and discuss it, like, one step at a time. What are the problems that happen there and how to improve them? And this brings us to the conclusion of the webinar. We will have a Q&A after this, but here we summarize some 3 key takeaways that we think could help you improving your onboarding experiences. So first one is you can look and try to fix the common mistakes. We selected some we see that happen quite often. So one is break onboarding into more steps to decrease the cognitive load for the customers. This really helps, because if, you know, as Carolina was saying, if you have just couple screens but you are asking for a lot of information, this can really detract the customers from filling it in. So it usually makes sense to break it down into multiple steps and to ask one information or couple informations at a time. The next one is fix the order of information collecting. So this means, like, think about what you really need at the beginning. So do you need email address and password? Do you need to also set up the 2-factor authentication? Maybe not, right? Like, think about, like, what is the most basic atomic information you can collect from the customer, so they can go back and recover from the step they ended at, right? So if they already provide you email address and phone number, they should be then able to continue, and maybe you don't need to collect all the nice to have information about the customer, and you can collect it once they get access to your product. This is also something we were discussing once with a client, whether to do like a full onboarding of a client or do some very short onboarding where we already show them the product, but they cannot use it, right? They like 2-step onboarding. So first you give access to the product and they can play around and see what the product does. And from there they can kind of activate to full to complete fully the onboarding. So that's also something we were looking at. In the end, they didn't choose this approach, but I think that's also something to think about, and a valid way how this could be done. Also, a big thing is asking for camera access or file access or these things. Sometimes companies think about this like, okay, let's not bother the customer when they use the product. Let's ask about all the permissions during the onboarding. And this might not be the correct way how to do it, because the customer might feel that, okay, why are these guys asking all this information? I am at the 3rd step of onboarding and they want to have access to everything on my phone, right? Like, this is not a way how to build a trust. So usually the best practice is here is to ask for the permission when you need it. So, you know, do you need camera during onboarding? Okay, ask for it and explain to customer why you need it. We need you to scan the ID, right? And then if you need to access file storage, maybe you need it when using the product. So you should ask for it not during onboarding, but when using the product. So this was about fixing the common mistakes. The second takeaway is that onboarding doesn't stop with onboarding. And this is, I think, something to keep in mind, that you are not onboarding the customer only to, if you have a single product, it could be that you onboard just to that single product, but a lot of times we want to cross-sell, upsell. We have multiple products that we can sell to customers, and you should also think how to onboard the customers into the individual products and how to showcase the features. Then another part is that when the customer finishes onboarding, your onboarding job is not done, right? Like, because what do you want to? You don't want just customers, you want active customers. So it's like, okay, how do we now we onboarded the customer, how do we make this customer active? And one way how to do this is, for example, to create some to-do list and assign actions to the customer to help him explore what he can do with the product. If it's like some financial product, if it's, I don't know, credit card, then you can tell him, like, you know, this is how you make a payment. This is how the credit card works. Add your credit card to your Google Pay or Apple Pay. You know, increase your limit if you need to, or this is where you can find the statement, or, you know, you can give them some ideas what they can do with the product to teach them how to use it and to make it more probable that they will use actively your product. And also, what is another way how to think about onboarding? Each time you introduce new feature, you can think about it that you now need to onboard all your customers to this new feature, right? So how do you communicate that there is this new feature available and how to use it? It could be about sending the email communication. It could be about having some tutorial or sending some push notification, or there could be different ways how to let the customers know about this new feature. So I think this is also important, that onboarding is not just onboarding, but it's about onboarding into other products, activating the customers, and telling them about the new features. And the last part is the analyzing of and fixing of the drop-off points. So you should understand at what point you're losing the customers the most. So what is the breaking point, and then maybe think about how to design it differently. Identify the hurdles customers are running into. Are there some fields that they are consistently filling wrongly? You know, maybe they need more instructions, or there might be some other way how to get that information. And also what you can think about is adding additional information, how to navigate them to either quickly get to customer support, or when the customers are going through onboarding, they still might not know everything about your product, and to better persuade them to use it, there should be maybe some easy way how to get to FAQ page where they can read more about how the product can be used, what are the main use cases, and maybe if they have some questions about how the billing works or cancellation of product works or something like that, they can read through it there and then go back to onboarding and finish it up. So these are just some actionable takeaways that you can try to think about. So the common mistakes, onboarding doesn't stop with onboarding, and analyze and fix the drop-off points. Right. So this was some wrap up, but definitely there are more details there. And now we would like to move to the Q&A section. I see that we already received some questions, so we will be going through those questions. Feel free to drop any additional questions you have. So we will first go through the ones we collected, and then you can also ask live if you have any questions. So the first one we received was in this Q&A, and I think I can click here, answer live, right? And you should now see it. So what is your opinion of web-based onboarding versus onboarding using an application? Isn't the initial download of the app barrier to onboarding? This is a very great question, and how I'm thinking about this is it depends whether your whole product is application, or you have also web-based alternatives. So for example, if you're a company that provides loans and you have a customer portal which is on the web, that's when I would consider having web-based onboarding, because your product is not something that the customer needs daily. And there is also alternative on a web, so it makes sense to onboard through web, right? But if your whole product is living or is the application, then I would, and it's something that the customers use daily, and it's the main value that they are driving from the application, then I would probably go and have the onboarding in the application. But this really depends case by case, and both could be a way how to tackle this. But I would think about this, like, what is the value? Is it used often, the application, and is there alternative how to use the product not through the app? Carolina, anything to add to this question?
No, I agree with you.
Okay, great. So this one is answered. Now I will move to the chat where we have another question.
We have one that it's to map onboarding. Do you use the journey maps, blueprints, or other examples? Yeah, we use. Well, me as a service designer, and also the team is using the user-centric design methodologies. So here, when Rudolf was displaying this example about the journey, it was in a phase of the project that the project was with a level of maturity, because we had the screens already. So we are we were iterating this process, the onboarding process, but everything is started with some ideas on how, depending on the business requirements, depending on the technology, depending on the research that we did with the users, we draw the ideal process, the ideal onboarding process on these steps. We in general use Miro as a tool, and we iterate this, right? So from this Miro with a journey, we create some screens. At the same time, we are doing this service blueprint because, as we explained, it's not only about the journey, but how we are going to support the journey that we are designing. What is going to happen in the back office to support the experience that we want to design, to show something on the screens, something needs to happen in the backstage, right? So yes, we do. It's exactly as stated here. It's the user journeys and service blueprints.
Yeah, thanks, Carolina. We have another question from Michal. How do you think organizations should proceed to move from traditional process design driven by business to more customer-centric design? In legacy organizations, UX research and customer-centric design are viewed as time-consuming steps with little added value. Right. So this is kind of a bigger question and doesn't relate only to onboarding. And I would say it really depends how the company sees. If they have this kind of legacy view that the research and customer-centric design is just time-consuming and not value-adding, I think the first step is to maybe make the case why or what is the added value of research and customer-centric design, right? And one of the things should be that we are kind of minimizing risks, because building products is all about managing the risks. Will the customers like the product? Will they use it? Will they be willing to pay for it? Will it be technically feasible to build the product? And like if you can kind of reduce this risk upfront without developing anything, it's actually saving time. But yeah, in the minds of managers, it could be, we now need to do this product design or discovery before we actually build something. Why not to build something? And kind of, I think this should be the main reason, that you still don't know what you should build to be successful. So this is a way how to minimize the risks, because each time you introduce new feature, it's a bet, right? You are betting that this is something that the customers will use, and you don't know how the feature should look like and how they would like to use it. So I think it starts with really making the case why this is a better approach. And then also this, I think, is then cultural change. And once the management or the company is bought that they want to go on this transformation journey, I think it should really start from the top, that the board should show that they now really care about the customers and they see value in this. And the first step is probably not having the customer research and design as a separate teams, but creating teams around the products that they are serving. I think that helps a lot. So the people are talking to each other. And I think the whole chain needs to be connected. So you need to do strategy differently, you need to set goals differently, you need to do product discovery differently, and you need to do then the delivery in agile way, right? So it's interconnected. Alrighty. So I think we don't have any more questions. Is there anyone who would like to ask additional questions, like live, or some thoughts that you might have from the session? Okay, I would take that as no. So thanks a lot, guys, for staying with us. We enjoyed the session. Thanks for the insightful and good questions you provided. And as we said at the beginning, in the upcoming days, you will receive the recording with the link and also the feedback survey. And if you like this or didn't like it, or you have some ideas what topics or what to do differently, we would greatly appreciate your input and to fill the survey. And the recording will be also uploaded to our FinTech Academy page, where you can also find all the previous webinars that we had on multiple topics, one of which also Carolina mentioned, the unhappy parts. So if you want to go deeper in unhappy parts or some other areas, you can find it in the past webinars. So looking forward to meeting you on some future webinars.
Thank you. See you soon. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.